It is time for Craft Roulette card making fun for episode 286. Let's go over the parameters. We had a project that needed to be a dude's card. The colors were inspired by a sunflower field. We needed an element on here that is a bird, and then a random element of soot. Hello, what? Yeah, we'll talk about soot. So here is my sketch for my card. I wanted to use this stamp set from Trinity Stamps with this crocodile in it, and then here's going to be the bird. And then for the colors, I wanted to do green, yellow, and blue, like blue for a sky, yellow for my bird, green for my crocodile. So the bird, I'm going to have him standing on the like little snout of my crocodile. And then for the soot, I wanted to bring in an element from my very first Craft Roulette episode. I was a guest and I had to include something brown, and I wanted to use this stamp set with this little pig, and I was like, brown. And so I decided to make mud. So I thought for this one I would make a swamp and do mud like I did for my very first Craft Roulette card. This is it right here. My very first time as a guest. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a little swamp for them to be standing in, and I think it'll be really cute. So I'm going to, kind of do some inspiredness from this card, but we're going to make this one, and it's going to be a mini slimline. My only problem is I always try to include a shaker on my Craft Roulette cards, and I'm coming up with a blank, and it's Thursday afternoon, so I only have a few hours left to do this because I am a member, and so I get a little extra time to do my card until Thursday night. So this might be the one time I don't include a shaker, so don't get mad at me. Okay. All right, I've got my stamped images. I just rough cut around this. I think I want to cut it out in a flag shape like that. And then I've got my crocodile here and the little bird from this set. There is stamps and dies to cut this out. I'm just kind of making a quicker video today since I'm low on time. And then I'm going to use this background paper for my sky, which is a Lawn Fawn paper called, it's in Seafoam. And it's the Spiffy Speckles paper pad. So I have a whole pack of this, which I found at the thrift store. So yeah, I'm very excited about that. So let's go ahead and get started, I think, with some coloring. Yeah, we got a lot to do on this crocodile. So first of all, here's the panel that my crocodile is going to be on. So I don't need to really color all of them. I'm just going to color up to the back of his foot because part of him is going to be off, which it does make me a little bit sad. I'm wondering if I want to do a different size card now. Yeah, I think it has to be a slimline card. I haven't made a slimline in a while, and I love them. So let's bring back the slimline. There we go. That's going to be good. So I'm going to color it, and then we'll figure out the mud. The swamp. I'm going with swamp on this one. Okay. All right, so for the coloring, I've sped it up a little bit, but I'm using my Olo markers and 2 shades of green to do this. I have really fell in love with the Olo brand cardstock for coloring. It is so smooth. I don't know, it just has a great texture, thickness, smoothness for coloring with alcohol markers, specifically the Olo markers. And that's not the paper I used this time. I don't know what I was thinking. I forgot. And so this paper is weird. Like, it doesn't want to blend at all. I don't even know what paper it is. Like, you just grab white from your scraps, or at least that's what I did. So I went with the edge being dark green, the middle being light green. Very simple coloring on this, and it's a really big image, so I think it kind of looks good. And I like this style of coloring with just 2 colors, a harsh, dark line that blends really well with, or coordinates really well with, that lighter color. So this is kind of like what I used to do with my Crayolas. Now for the bird, I use wide 2.3 and 2.2, and there he is, cute as can be. So I wanted just one little bird to stand on his nose. I thought that's cute, but there's tons of birds in the stamp set. All right, let's bring out the black soot and make a swamp. I'm going to do ink smushing, splattering, spritzing, I'm going to make a mess and it's going to be so much fun. So I have Black Soot Distress Oxide ink I put on my glass mat, which, by the way, it's World Card Making Day this weekend as I am putting this video out. And you'll see I am ink smushing right onto my Glassboard Studio. And I had to let you know that Glassboard Studio is the most amazing glass mat, and they are having a sale over this weekend, so you want to go over and check that out. If you don't have a glass mat or one that's magnetic, I love this, and it's a great size. Plus they have all different colors and patterns in the glass mat that you can do. So you can really pick one that suits your style and like your decor in your craft room, which I absolutely love. So I am using the Glassboard Studio mat heavily for this part of my project. I also love the fact that it's magnetic. That is like so groovy, so cool to be able to hold things down. Like when you want something to dry and you want to put something heavy on it, just like put the magnet on it and it doesn't move. And I use it lots of other ways when I want to hold something in place. So I love it, and it's great for ink smushing like I'm doing here and just making a mess. So you'll see I spritzed it with Distress Oxide spray, and then I had all this spray on my glass mat. So I spritzed that with water, and I'm picking it up with my paper, and I'm just going back and forth between the inky mess on my glass mat and drying it with my heat gun to create layers. So once you do one layer of inkiness and spritzing, it's nice to dry it and then you can add more layers. And that's what's going to give you that depth of like dimension where some of it's lighter and farther away and darker and moody. It's just really good to have a heat tool to be able to do that. Then I did some ink smushing and splattering, and I just went to town and I kept layering until I got the look that I wanted, and I got really inky. So let's take a minute to talk about another thing that I love besides the Glassboard Studio mat, which is what I'm going to use to clean my hands. I'm going to show you that after I tear a piece of this off. I'm going to have quite a bit left over that I can actually use on another project. I can die cut it. I love having extras like that for later. So I guess we're not talking about my dirty hands yet because I still have a chance to get them dirty right here using that oxide ink on the edge with my shading sidekick. Okay, so this is Scrubby Soap, the ultimate hand and multi-surface cleaner, and it has a sponge on the top of the soap that you can scrub your hands with. It's so good, and it didn't dry my hands out. I learned about it at Scrapbook Expo, and I love it. I think they sell it now at Ranger. I'm not sure. But anyways, I will link some for you below so you can check it out. And I think they have it also in lime, but it smells, it's not too overwhelming of a smell, and it cleans my hands after crafting so good, even like under your fingernails, which I always have stuff under my fingernails from crafting. So I'm loving it, and I had to share it with you. All right, so now I am gluing on the portion of the swamp that I want, trimmed it off, and I've got a little place for my little crocodile to stand. So there he is. I don't really even know if crocodiles are in the swamp, but I feel like it's a good habitat for this guy. So that's what I'm going with. And he's going to stand right there. I popped him up with a ton of foam squares. And my little birdie's going to be popped up too because dimension is life. I love dimension on my cards. Like I want a huge card and I want it to be fat with dimension. Guess what I found in my stash? The outside in stitched sunshine that I used on the original card. And I'm like, yes, I have to have that sun. It's so cute. So I die cut this 3 times. I'm actually going to die cut it 4 because I decided I could turn this little guy into the shaker for my card. So not all is lost. It will have a shaker. Yay. So I cut out the center of one of them, and then I just use that as a guide to kind of cut a little circle that's a tiny bit bigger than this piece. I could have used a circle, but sometimes you're just like, oh, it'll be just as fast to cut with my scissors than go get my dies. You know, so that's what I did. And then I'll glue that on the back of the frame I created. And then I cut it from some craft foam that has adhesive on the front and the back. Cut out the center of that and stuck it down to my darker yellow sunshine, which I just left the eyes and the mouth in, even though those pieces fall out, which is a good thing because that's what I used for the face on top of the shaker. Was the black piece. Now the black sun I backed with rip and stick sheets as well. so I could stick that down really easily. So there's my teeny tiny miniature baby shaker full of clear micro beads. It's so cute. I really love it. I'm so glad I figured out a way to add a shaker to this card because it's my personal parameter for all my Craft Roulette creations is to include a shaker, which all happened at Paperganza when Mary, live on the show, put me on the spot and said, "Is your card going to have a shaker?" And I was like, of course it is. So if you love shakers, be sure to check out my Facebook group, which is called Shaker Card Addicts. Then you can share all your shaker creations, get inspired by our shaker creations. People share links to videos. So if you want more like tutorials on shaker cards, you'll find that there. So, okay, I'm finishing this out with a little bit of grass because I ran across this die when I was looking for the sunshine, and I thought that would really help my little scene pop, and it did. So I just put 2 little pieces on either end, and then I'm adding this to a slimline card, which is 8.5 by 7.5, scored at 3.5, and then my front panel, which is 8.25 by 3.25, will fit down on there perfectly with a nice white border around the edge. I love a border around my cards. All right, so back to my inspiration card that I'm casing. I am putting down some glossy accents to give this that wet look. And so some of it's going to be wet, some of it's not, some it's going to have little splatters like I did on my original. And I think that also is a little detail that brings the card to life. I always say love is in the details, so don't leave them out. And if you have like a fun idea, always try it. So my other card had these really cool sparkle enamel dots from Trinity Stamps, which is where the stamp set's from as well. And I am adding those around my sun in the kind of light blue color so that it's kind of a turquoise almost, but I feel like it went really well with the Spiffy Speckles paper. And now we're going to take a look at what this card looks like when the glossy accents is all dry. All right, here is the finished card. It's all dry with my glossy accents there, which I think just adds so much to the card that makes it look wet and swampy. And here's the card I cased. Like, I really thought I was just going to be inspired by the mud, but then I was like, oh, I love the sun, so I did the sun, and I really liked the watery, glossy accent, so I did that. I like the words in the banner. I like the little embellishments, so it is kind of fun to go back and case yourself when you have a card that you love. And I really love this one because of creating the mud. It was just a fun experience when I was on Craft Roulette, so it was more about that I kept the card, but I'm glad I did. Then I could case it and make something really fun. So that was fun to inspire myself. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will be back again soon with another video. And tonight is Craft Roulette because I didn't get this card finished till Friday. So be sure to go over and check out Craft Roulette. Plus, they have a really fun World Card Making Day thing going on, so lots of fun for that, and I will link them in the description box below so you can go just click right over and join in the fun and the community that is Craft Roulette. Happy stamping! Bye! Wait, I had one more thing to say. I think it's amazing that I could create 2 cards very similar and use 2 different sets of parameters from Craft Roulette. And I think I just hit it. I mean, I've got my sunflower colors, I've got my soot, which I think was the hardest part. I did a card for a dude, and I have my cute little bird. Isn't it so sweet? So thank you so much for watching again. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe because I have new paper crafting videos for you all the time. I'll see you on the next one. Happy stamping. Bye.